Welcome back to another episode of Saving Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And it's Monday again. It occurred to me that we could talk about the Oscars because those were allegedly last night. But I didn't watch them because they're not, they don't stream anywhere. And it's like, I don't know if they have like some deal with networks that they have to be broadcast there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that like on YouTube TV you can stream them, but it's like that'd be the one way to fix your ratings. And they don't do it.
Well, I also did not watch the Oscars because I'm also in my mid-20s, but I am disappointed that Tenet wasn't nominated for sound design. What a snub.
I didn't see Tenet, but I imagine sound design is pretty good. I think the film Sound of Metal won a bunch of sound things, partially because sound is in the name. But I think also because that film revolved around like a metal drummer going deaf. And so I imagine that, I don't know, it also could be a situation of the Academy being like, oh, we're actually having this. Well, this movie has sound in the title, so I guess sound design. Because like Tenet did get visual effects, I believe.
It earned visual effects. Apparently you're not familiar with the meme that Tenet sounded just god-awful. It was mixed so poorly.
Oh, that's right, yes, because the dialogue is so quiet. No, I think the only like Christopher Nolan film that has like balanced sound is The Prestige, and that's just because it's a very quiet film overall.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. It's fine. Wasn't his year. It's cool. You'll get him next time. Chris. I just okay, so I haven't seen any of the Best Picture nominees. Not a one.
I only saw, and I don't even know if it was actually nominated for Best Picture. I saw Judas and the Black Messiah, and it was really good.
Okay. Which one won?
Nomadland.
Wasn't that one like not? I've heard pretty poor reviews of that one.
I don't know. I know that Frances McDormand is in it, and I like Frances McDormand a lot. And the woman who directed Nomadland also won Best Director. So it was a pretty big night for Asian women because she won both of those. And I believe an Asian American woman won Best Supporting Actress, which may have been the first time for that as well.
Well, yeah. I'm not sure if I can like. I don't even know what any of these films are about, really. So I can't really say if it deserved to win or not. But I've heard a lot of people saying that it did not deserve to win. I'm not sure what did, because again, this was a pretty weak showing.
Because it's like these are the only films that came out, and we we snubbed Jim Carrey for Best Supporting Actor.
We sure did.
And which is a shame because there are definitely probably good films in the bunch. I've heard really good things about Minari, and Sound of Metal I've heard good things about. But like I think Promising Young Woman was really the only film that did any rounds as far as like people talking about it, which may have just been because it was controversial and the people I follow, it's in their sphere of conversation, but
could be true. Yeah. Again, I'll be honest, hardly even heard of any of these films. And Promising Young Woman, maybe I heard of once. Mank, only because I have a deep cinephile friend. What are these films?
Yeah, well, because like Mank is Fincher, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, and it's like it is a cool story. If I recall, no, I'm confusing that with Trumbo. I'm confusing that story with that. It's about Mankiewicz. I don't. I just know it's like a black and white film about Hollywood, and that's what the Academy wants because that's all they see of the world.
It's about a well-known film. I'm going to like
Spartacus, maybe.
Citizen Kane.
Oh, Citizen Kane. Yes, about the guy who wrote Citizen Kane. Doy. Yeah, which like I enjoy Citizen Kane. Of like the classic films, I can understand why people think it's one of the more overrated, but I did enjoy Citizen Kane. partially just because I am thrilled by the prospect that a 25-year-old Orson Welles was like, yeah, here's a bunch of money, write, produce, and direct your own movie, put all your friends in it. Like, that's the dream.
That's that's the Adam Sandler archetype.
It is.
Yeah.
Orson Welles is just Adam Sandler. I hadn't thought of it, but you know what? You're absolutely right. And somehow I feel like Adam Sandler is not going to fall into the trap of like drunkenly promoting champagne and voicing a Transformers villain.
Yeah. We can hope.
Yeah. Goodness.
Oh. Well, but yeah, I think you're right. The Oscars didn't make as big of a splash this year as it did previous years. It's clear that the Oscars are important, but I don't know why people care so much. It's not for us.
Yeah.
The Oscars never were. So to show it off as a 3-hour thing, or whatever capacity it was in last night. It's I don't get it, and I never really keyed into the tabloid mindset of caring about actors and actresses in general.
Yeah, more and more I am turned off by the prospect of knowing anything about the actors I watch.
Mm-hmm.
And more I'm like, I'm still trying to get out of the habit of watching videos of other people talking about people. 'Cause yeah, I don't like the prospect that like all of their personal decisions have to come through the filter of everyone knowing about it, sometimes without even them intending for people to find out. And like, obviously if someone's a creep, I want to know, but in some respect it's like, what does it matter to me? Like, it's important in an industry sense, but like, I don't need to know about them at all. I don't want to know what their kids' names are.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting cultural thing that just kind of happened.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Yeah. Well, because like you watch stuff about like, especially in the early 2000s, where just paparazzi ruined people and just would not leave people alone. And even now it happens. I was watching a video from Kodiko, and he and his girlfriend were watching like paparazzi videos.
Yeah.
And one of them was of Kanye. Someone showed up to Kanye's house at like 4 a.m. and was standing outside his garage being like, "Good morning, Kanye. How are you doing?" And Kanye's like, "Don't ask me how I'm doing. You're outside my house at 4 a.m.
Yeah. It's mind-blowing that this, that it's seen as acceptable to do this kind of thing, and and that people readily consume this kind of thing without any sort of guilt.
Yeah. Like, because I don't want to talk about like things I'm surmising from celebrities' personal lives in this context, a podcast that reaches like 5 subscribers as of now, because like I'll have conversations about it with my friends offline, but not online.
Yeah,
because they don't need to stumble across it.
Yeah, it seems I can't key into it, so I don't understand why that part of pop culture is so existing. No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going away. Unless something like, even if something really bad happens, I don't think it'll go away. I don't think, right? Like,
well, yeah, because people will always want to, like, it's part of the consumption of whatever art someone makes, unless they deliberately withhold their personal life. Like Banksy or the guys from Daft Punk, who purposefully obscure Like, we still know about the guys in Daft Punk, but, like, they've chosen to make that not part of their public persona.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's just part of, like, the consumption of whatever art you have. You want to learn more about, you know, the mindset in creating the piece, so you have to, like, look into where they were at that point in their life. And I think as art has continued to get more personal, that's just a side effect. And honestly, the whole, like, influencer thing where it's YouTubers pretending, honestly, to be regular people, that in some ways I think exacerbates that.
When you say pretending to be normal people, what do you mean?
Like, it's still a front. Even if they're being themselves, they're still pretending to an extent.
I guess. That's probably true of really anyone presenting a public image.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I can see the argument for that.
Yeah. And it's always interesting to see, like, what persona they land on. And I would love to know, like, if you're in public relations, how you look at a person and you're like, okay, here's what we want to construct that people see.
That's true. There's a whole profession centered around this and managing public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are really good at it. Like, really good at it. Because, I mean, I guess you just gotta know how to manipulate the news cycle, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Be first and negate anything that comes after. That's a huge part of it.
And every time people will forget about it. Every time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
No, I think it's the thick of it that's all about, like, spin doctors and politics.
Yep, the thick of it. In the Loop. Love those shows. It's so good.
I've got it on my watch later because HBO Max has a ton of shows that are really good. Like that one. And Nathan For You, I think, kind of...
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited to watch that.
Nathan For You is one of the better cringe comedies out there.
Yeah, I like my fiance has no capacity for cringe. He will physically hide because he cannot handle it. I love it. It is some of my favorite content to consume, especially if I have like the window of someone else watching, so I experience their pain on top of whatever embarrassing thing is happening on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love watching people have meltdowns over, like, extreme cheapskates and just, like, having no... Like, they just can't wrap their head around how someone could live like that. Or the gold mines have been early 2000s dating shows, like, on MTV, like Next or Eliminate. Some of that cringe comedy is really good.
That does sound like a gold mine for cringe comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Just, although, I don't know. MTV's dating shows. Oh, what's the one I'm thinking of? For some reason, my mind just keeps drawing a blank. I have no idea. It was Cheaters, and that was horribly cringe because sometimes they had like these weirdly contrived scenarios. Maybe this wasn't even MTV. I don't even know what I'm talking about, to be perfectly honest. I'm really tired. But this show Cheaters, it was so cringe because of like it was like almost To Catch a Predator style confrontations. Ooh. But like I don't know. It's a very interesting show just in general. I don't know. Yeah. And reality TV in general, you have to like be A, in the mood for it, and B, find something that you can jive with in order for it to like, you know, not just great at your face just by existing.
Yeah. One of my favorites, I've seen a couple people do this show, and I can't remember the name of it. It's like Truth or Money Pyramid. That's just the only visual I have. But it's basically like the more questions you answer truthfully, the more money you make. And it was this woman who's on the show who had these questions in advance. The whole point of the show is she answers all the questions in advance with a polygraph so they can determine if what she answers on the show is true or not. And she's there with her husband, her mother, her sister, and her dad. And questions start out innocuously enough, like, I say innocuously enough. They start out with, like, have you ever stolen from your job? Have you ever flashed a stranger? But then they escalate to, do you still think about your ex? Were you thinking about your ex on your wedding day? And have you, carried on sexual conversations with people after your marriage? Have you had an affair after your marriage? And she keeps answering yes to all of this. At one point, her sister slaps a button that's like a please think about this button. And she's just racking up all this money. And then they ask her, do you think you're a good person? And she says yes. And it comes back false. And it's like, how do you answer, yes, I've cheated on my husband? And think, yeah, no, I'm still a good person. You That's answered good. This question already. So she ruins her marriage and loses all of the money. So That's she delicious. Can't even pay for her divorce.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah. The weirdest part is her ex and her husband had the same name.
That's got to be in a psychology textbook somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
There was a show on the Game Show Network. Yeah, the Game Show Network called Baggage. That was in a similar vein.
Yes.
I think it might have actually been hosted by Jerry Springer. And one of the contestants, it was a dating type show. It's slowly coming back to me. Yeah. And you have 3 people to choose from based on their baggage. And then whoever you pick has to listen to your baggage and see if they will go on the date with you in response. Some very interesting people out there. TLDR.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I know they have to cast for those things. Mm-hmm. But man, I couldn't. Sure, I would love to act in things. And I understand that reality TV carries some measure of acting to go along with it, but I don't know that there's... The money that would come with being on reality TV is not worth the reputation it would afford me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can always craft your reality television persona, regardless of how scripted or contrived it is. If it still falls under the guise of reality TV, then of course you have some control over it. You have some, being as you are the person and they are filming reality kind of, depending on how much control they have, you still can exert some creative control over it in return. I actually, I went to school with someone, I was in her 3rd grade class with someone who is currently on MTV's Siesta Key. And I've seen a couple of the episodes and it seems like she's trying her hardest to be the least toxic person on the show. The show is the show is, it's going to be MTV, rich people on Siesta Key.
Yeah.
Right. And she has a modeling background, but it seems very much like she is by far the least toxic person on the show. And it seems like that is a narrative that she is trying to push. It's in its 4th season now. I've only seen a couple episodes out of season 1, so this might be completely wrong and completely outdated. But it's also very hard to find this show outside of MTV. I guess no one posts clips to YouTube for the show, or I guess no one puts it on, torrent websites. So it's like, I'm never going to watch this show.
Yeah.
MTV. What I'm going to do, sign in with my parents' cable provider. I don't care. But so yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Reality TV. I don't know. I hate the way it's edited too. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Scoop my eyes out with the oyster shucking knife.
Because it's so aggressive. It's so aggressive and abrasive and obnoxious, and I get it. you have to craft a story or something.
There's a video by Tantacrul. He is a software designer and music composer, and he's known for just roasting the hell out of music notation software. But sometimes he makes video essays on composers, and sometimes he makes video essays on how music is used. And his most recent video is about how music is used to dehumanize people in reality television, namely The Apprentice, The Bachelor, and basically anything Gordon Ramsay makes. Oh, God, and America's Got Talent, or any of the Got Talent things.
Yeah.
Or, as he calls them, Simon Cowell vehicles. They're, like, the phenomenon, either he calls it this, or it's the actual term, auto-sad.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The sob stories that happen, like, that every 5 minutes in America's Got Talent is enough to, Jackson Pollock the ceiling with your brain. It's so just absolute, like, it's just, I can't even articulate my disgust with the whole thing. So one of the examples he gives, one of the more ludicrous examples he gives, it's this act on Britain's Got Talent, and it's this guy and a dog, and he asks one of the judges to write on a piece of paper an object, and he shows the paper to the dog while the human's turned away and also covering his eyes, which is weird. And then the dog goes over to the guy and tells the guy what he saw in the paper. And he says, the word you wrote was table. And it's like, wow, how did you do it? And then there's like this sob story of like the slideshow. It's a PowerPoint slideshow in the background of like the story of this psychic connection between the guy and the dog. The guy was a police officer, and in the line of duty, a bad guy was coming at him with a knife, and the dog jumped in front of him and took the knife. And the dog was like in super critical condition, but the love of the man brought him back, and they formed this psychic link. And, everyone is just, teary-eyed. Simon is really hamming it up. Everyone's just like, openly weeping and completely skirting over the fact that, one, the dog can read, and two, the dog can talk. And you don't feel bad. Like, another... You really need to watch this video. It's like 25 minutes of just straight roasting these things, these shows.
Oh,
but like
yeah.
the one, this is a deep cut from 2 weeks ago, because I edited the last 2 episodes of Steaming Pile, and I realized I never came back to this point. The Cat Whisperer.
Yes.
The Cat Whisperer, I don't know if you've seen any of the clips. It is by far one of the worst edited shows I've ever seen. Like, you expect it, right? You expect it to be poorly edited. So then the traps of, like, when he comes back after like a couple weeks and the people have implemented the changes to, take control of their cat in the situation, right?
Yeah.
He asks, like, did the changes work? And then there's this long, uncomfortable pause that that they left it on purpose because you think that people are going to say, no, everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. But you're so conditioned to it at this point that at the other end of this awkward pause, everything is going to be fine. So what's the point of the awkward pause? Some guy
gets paid to do that little, like, symbol roll right as the reveal happens, and if we don't leave that in, that guy can't feed his family.
Another example from the Tantacrul video is The Apprentice, the British Apprentice, which is apparently still a thing. First off, the first trope he examines is pizzicato equals stupid, right?
Yes.
I think we've all heard that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So he takes it from, like, that's the music you hear when you're looking at cute animals, right? It's like, look at how cute and innocent and, like, silly this animal is, right? And then it's, that's how it's set up in your brain. So then you go over to he also rips to shreds animal documentaries from National Geographic.
Yeah.
But like, then you bring it over to The Apprentice, and you have, the pizzicato equals stupid for seemingly innocuous conversations. Then you have these people following the groups around whose only job is to sneer at the stupidity.
Yes.
Repeat. Stupid, sneer, repeat.
Yeah, no, there's so many like tropey musical cues that it's essentially like leitmotifs that, anytime you hear like this one piano line, ooh, something serious is happening. If you hear like
he touches on this too when talking about The Bachelor.
Yes.
When they introduce, the first episode of The Bachelor, they have like 20 women to introduce in a very short amount of time. So they rely on these musical cues and keywords to outline very simplistic, rock and roll. Oh, she must be a rebel. Oh, folksy, she must be a caregiver. What's another one? I think an example was like, orchestral drama music, for like The Fighter, I
also love when they throw in vaguely ethnic music for any woman that is not completely white.
He touches on this too in National Geographic, right? Whenever you see a lion, expect ethnic percussion because Africa. Whenever you see a tiger, expect Oriental music because Asia. And there's also this trope that documentaries fall into where they use ethnic or more often than not Oriental music to indicate a sense of otherness, usually reserved for weird-looking fish.
Yes. Yeah. How everything Parisian is just like accordions. Yeah.
Not everything needs music. Music's great, but not everything needs music.
Right, yeah. And I've run into that too, and I've done like commentary things, and I'll pay attention if a YouTuber decides to put like music underneath whatever they're talking about, whether or not it lasts the whole video or not.
Yeah.
And like, at what point is it cool to just cut out the music? It's fine.
Yeah. It's just background music in general adds to like smooth out the vocal, right? Because I don't know, when I'm editing something, it sounds so weird when it's just me saying words. That just sounds so weird. Excuse me. So I have a couple like fallback tracks to fall back onto that are not distracting, and more importantly, do not emotionally signpost what you're supposed to be feeling.
Yeah.
Well, let's be clear. In most of the content I make, the only thing you should be feeling is anger for my stupidity. But
no, see, I can't feel that because I have no idea what you're doing half the time. Because I have no frame of reference for how that works. Like, you were doing stuff with the iPod, and I'm like, I didn't even know there was firmware.
Hey, you don't know what I'm doing? I don't know what I'm doing. This is way above my pay grade. I'm a Ruby engineer. Anyway. But like, just tossing in some background music. Okay, all right. Yeah. I just don't tell me how to feel. Like, the whole thing about the nature documentary thing, it brings up, he compares National Geographic's saltwater crocodile in Cold-Blooded Killers, which uses like this very like evil, sinister, like, this thing's going to kill you, right? It makes you focus on your experience with the crocodile and doesn't allow you to empathize with how alien the experience of being a crocodile is, right? Like, it doesn't allow you to, like, it makes it all about you when really it's all supposed to be about the crocodile, right?
Yeah.
Like, it springs out and eats a bat. It's just hunting.
Yeah,
of course it's like
happens.
it's vicious. The crocodile is a cold-blooded killer. Those things are scary.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't need to be told that through music. Like, it's massive, it's heavy. And then he compares it to something from the BBC that has basically no music in the background. I think the only background noise is like water noise, which, you know, is also not representative of the environment, but it's still like not emotionally signposting.
Yes.
And it basically says similar facts, right? The things that you could take from as fact from the National Geographic bit. But like it's so much better because A, it allows you to breathe. B, it gives the editor more I guess latitude in the edit. And 3, it allows you to like relate to the crocodile in more than just it's going to kill me kind of way.
Yes.
It's a crocodile.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there have been a couple moments in like movies where they didn't have any music at all. And it in fact like heightens whatever emotion you're supposed to feel, depending on what that situation is. Because in The Birds, there's a sequence where they're walking down a long hallway and it's just totally silent. There's no music, no sound at all. And so we're all just like waiting.
Yeah. No, it's that use of negative space is just as important in music as it is in art.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
It is like a really like where the line is between music that enhances the moment versus music that's doing all of the heavy lifting. It is doing what the scene cannot convey.
Yeah. Or even was never meant to convey or has no need to convey in the first place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I really appreciate people, apparently like Tantacrul, who go into music and its purpose in things. Because, like, Sideways does a really good job of that. And there are probably a couple other video essays I've watched about, like, the purpose of music in a thing. Because that's all, like, a denser layer of things. So, like, I can watch a thing multiple times and appreciate, like, narratively what's happening, cinematographically what's happening, but like musically, that is a thing that I completely miss out because I have no concept of music and its purpose. If I'm not listening to music isolated on its own and it's like woven into a thing, no idea.
Yeah, no, it's, and that's, you know, that's I think that's par for the course, and that's why, you know, it's generically dehumanizing when it's misused.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because I think, like, in reality TV especially, it often feels like awkward pauses, so it's deliberately obnoxious on top of that. So its failure to serve as a narrative device is amplified. Because it's just so
He touches on this too.
Ah!
How, like, nothing can be happening, but in order to keep the momentum of the show going, to fill the gap, like someone getting out of a car, there's just like this, you know, this like, you know, epic Hell's Kitchen like, you know, music going on.
Yeah, you gotta have like the lens flare shift to showing the car open. The transitions, man.
Oh yes,
ugly.
The feet touching down, getting out, looking around. It's cookie cutter. It's textbook, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's a thing where I totally recognize what reality TV looks like, but I could not replicate it.
Oh.
If I wanted to parody it, I would have no idea.
You just got to immerse yourself in it. You got to, like, you know, just see the tropes. And I think, you know, you watch a couple episodes of, you know, a various multitude of shows. You'll very quickly pick up on the format, you'll very quickly pick up on the tropes, and you'll very quickly pick up on the tricks. Yep. It's because it works that people duplicate it and will not change it.
Yeah. I'm really curious what, like, the budget for reality TV is and, like, its return on investment compared to other television. Because it has to be... Well, I don't know if it'd be cheaper, because with, like, the really heavy hitters of reality TV, like, the stars probably get paid a lot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it seems like you have to. I think the easier the concept is, the more profit it'll make because of its longevity. Like, if you have... I'm just trying to think. I feel like something like Hell's Kitchen costs more to produce, and makes a less of a return on investment than something like Chopped. Because they can just crank Choppeds out maybe 10 a day. It's ridiculous how fast they can make those. But Hell's Kitchen is more A, of production, and B, it just seems more complicated in general. So yeah, I don't know. I think you got to find like a real sweet spot niche format like Chopped. The Food Network's amazing at finding these formats of, like, you know, entertaining, not obnoxious, and super repeatable for very cheap. Yes. Beat Bobby Flay, Chopped. Iron Chef is kind of on the periphery of this category, but sure, Iron Chef. It's just car shows. The entire Motor Trend network.
So many car shows.
So many.
So many, like, dating competition shows.
Oh, yes. There's so many people, so they'll never exhaust their pool of people.
Yeah. And there's so many people who are, like, in the demographic that would be hired for the show that want, like, the boost to their profile to do what they actually want to do. So they don't even have to care about winning.
That's fair. You can use it as, like, you know, to leverage your clout, I suppose. But that's like a 4D chess move, I think. I don't think that's what these things are primarily used for. Like, obviously, you know, that would be, you know, super duper. You know, you gotta, if you're gonna leverage the, like, let's say you leverage The Bachelor for, you know, a couple, like, you know, 5-figure follow numbers on Instagram, and you don't win. Oh dear, I don't have to. I'm not going to be like either I marry this guy or I'm the shame of the nation. No, you just lose the game gracefully.
Yeah,
that's get out of there.
Yeah. Because, like, and after a point, like, depending on how much they exploit it and how much you can tell they're, like, trying to shoehorn themselves into pop culture continuously, it gets more and more pathetic. Like, I continue to see, like, Big Ed in reaction videos from 90 Day Fiancé, and he is, like, jumped on branding, and he has jumped on other shows. He tattooed his own logo on his leg.
Why? Why do we still care about him?
I don't know. That's what confuses me. Like, who actively follows him that it isn't their job? Like, you're just a regular old person. Like, is it for the cringe? Is it for cringe comedy that people do it?
Yes, maybe. Whatever gives you influence, I suppose. You just cash in on that while you can, or even after you should, right? Like that.
Yeah.
People hanging on to relevance as long as they can, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, let's not act like we're above it.
Oh.
The moment we become relevant, but...
Yeah, no, like, I'm already, like, strategizing, because let's face it, you're going to hit it big before I do. So I'm already strategizing how to, like, stay in the periphery of your content.
Well, we don't have to worry about that. I don't... But, yeah, it's impossible to empathize with these people until you're actually in it. It's impossible to empathize with Kanye West. It's impossible to empathize with Big Ed from 90 Day Fiancé. Not that you would want to, but it's still impossible. It's just... Yeah, it's just... Once you get it, it is very rare to keep it. And the people who do keep it, well, how do they do it? They get it. How do they keep it? They keep it by A, being consistent, and B, people liking them? Is that the only answer?
I guess.
Oh, then I'm screwed. No, I'm kidding. They just have to be consistently likable. I feel like Billie Eilish would have faded away if she wasn't consistently likable, but she's consistently likable.
Yeah.
So she remains relevant despite the fact that when did the album come out? She's been dropping singles piecemeal for a while, but
yeah,
maybe that's how she stays relevant and consistent. She's dropping singles. That's why she's still relevant. Because she's those songs are consistently good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, I do sympathize with the idea of, like, finding an easy way to make a lot of money very fast.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely sympathize with that. But it's like, I want middling success. I'm fine with it not being a 7 or 8 figure thing. If it's even, like, high 5 figure, that's fine.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
I don't even need 500,000 subscribers, like, because a lot of the people I watch and are consistently putting out decent content, a lot of them are under 300,000, and I'm like, that's fine.
That's so many people.
Yeah,
that's
enough to make a living on.
Yeah,
and it's one of the coolest things, because there's a guy who recently, like, popped off, and I had subscribed to him probably at about 60,000. And he's at like 280,000 right now. And just watching, because he would like read his top tier patrons, and there were like 4. And then he was having to read like 15 or 20 names. And then finally he's having to just have it like scroll down the side because there are too many. And it's so cool to watch that, because you can tell that it's like weird to grasp for him as well. Because he's like, I don't know what happened, but we're here.
Yeah.
And his content's been consistently good. He did like the disturbing movie Iceberg that was really interesting. And then he's doing like the conspiracy theory Iceberg, and he's been going tier by tier, just talking about like, here's a conspiracy, here's what it's about. But then he also talks about like niche history events like the 38-minute war. And so it's all really cool stuff. And like some people, they get instant success and they maintain a level of relatability. That's the other weird part of it, is when we expect people to be relatable versus when we don't. And at what point that crossover happens, that people get mad when they try to be relatable versus, you know, the change happens and too much changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember, of course you remember, a year ago when all the celebrities sang Imagine?
Oh, yeah.
I think that definitely, you know, crossed the line of, you know, trying to be relatable, but it backfired.
Yeah.
A lot of like, that. Yeah. Good.
How many crew members helping out someone until it quits feeling organic?
Yes. Very true.
Because, like, people are like, yeah, you have an editor, that's fine. You have someone to turn the camera for you, that's fine. When you have multiple people off set that you communicate with.
That's a production.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess as long as you're not trying to, you know, hide that kind of thing. Trying to not, you know, avoiding being disingenuous. I think people will still, you know, accept that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, just you can't lie about it. Be like, oh, still relatable, but also staff of 20, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you get the chance, of course, you're going to want to have a staff of 20. That's like,
yeah.
If you can afford a staff of 20, then you can afford a staff of 20. That's pretty
You
good.
can afford a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah.
You can afford like a full building that you film things in.
Exactly.
Because it'd be really cool to have like a filming space.
Oh God, yeah.
Obviously.
Oh God, yeah. A studio, sound treated with like. No, that's it. Sound treated. That's.
Oh yeah, we can put whatever furniture in it that we want. Like that.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. I mean, you look at. I think within the last like 2 weeks, Linus Tech Tips did a studio tour, and his operation is so much larger than at least I thought. Like, you know, it's this large building. There are multiple sets because he has multiple channels, each
Ooh, wow.
for a different thing.
Yeah.
Large number of editors, massive amounts of storage because they like the way they record things.
Yeah.
Writers. I think they have people whose specific job it is to manage and design the merch. LTTstore.com. So it just but once you get there, I think he's at like 13 million subscribers now. Once you get there, then of course you're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
And granted, the amount of revenue he generates from YouTube does not even pale in comparison to his sponsored segments because he has like 2 per video. Sometimes the entire video is 1.
Wow.
But because he has the audience that can command that sort of thing.
Yes.
Of course, he's going to be able to have an entire media group, Linus Media Group. Just so much content.
Yeah.
New video every day. How do they do it?
Goodness, yeah. I don't think anyone I watch, except for the Raccoon Whisperer, posts every day.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. It's quite impressive because they're like, I guess it depends on the video. Sometimes it's just a review. Sometimes it's like full computer projects. And again, like Linus hosts pretty much all of them. So they have to have it mechanized somehow.
Oh yeah,
right? Like he's not writing
you're
any
probably
of this.
having people work on scripts 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
Oh yeah, the scripts,
Easily.
the projects, yeah.
Yeah. So and he's probably filming, depending on the length of it, anywhere from like 2 to 6 things a day, probably.
Could be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that whole process is mechanized because at that point it's a business and there's no like.
Yeah.
But again, he's not trying to hide that sort of thing, right? There are times that he comes off as genuine and relatable, but that's not all of his videos. These videos are about computers. We all know why we're here. It's not like he's trying to be folksy or something.
Yeah. People have to sell content. They have to do their thing.
Yeah, that's his job. And then occasionally he'll live stream and say, "I'm thinking about retiring," and everyone panics.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are some things that I totally understand why people would get those things because it does help them with their career and it's like a part of the business that they themselves may not know anything about, whether that be a manager or an agent. Like those are helpful.
Yeah.
But it's always like, ooh, they've done that. They're looking at other things. And it's a weird balance because I do sympathize with you don't want to be pigeonholed as just an internet person forever.
Yes.
But also the dread that we feel of seeing someone who's very online being in a thing that's not online. And what are you doing here? Anytime a YouTuber makes a cameo in a movie, it's get out. You don't belong here.
Or they make a movie.
Yes.
Which is even worse.
Yeah.
I can't think of a good one. But yeah. I don't know. It's a slippery slope, I guess once you create a brand about yourself.
Yeah.
Then I guess it kind of takes on a mind of its own.
Yeah, because it's a thing that I'm sure depending on which YouTuber I have in mind, I would feel differently about.
Sure.
And maybe it's just the change in lighting. If they're in a thing that gives them truly professional grade lighting, it feels wrong because we're used to lighting that people can find online. And so there would be people that I would be absolutely stoked if they made it into some sort of television framework, whether that be like Gus Johnson or Eddie Burback. I would love to see them in some sort of syndicated thing. And I don't know if the like impulse of like this feels wrong would kick in just the same. And it's doubly weird because I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm making online content in the hope that it would lead to more like professional settings. Mm-hmm. And building an online brand is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So they're technically doing everything right.
Yeah. It's very hard to comment on because you're right. We're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Do we cut them slack? We should, but will we?
Absolutely not.
It still feels weird. It's the teacher in the grocery store thing. They don't belong here. I was in like the Circle K next to campus, and my thesis advisor walked in, and I locked up completely. Like mind went blank. I was like, I don't know how to greet you in this context. Are we equals? Are you still my professor? What are we? What are we right now?
Yeah. It's that always got me. It happened to me a couple times, I think in elementary school, maybe. And then like let's say there's like a school related fundraiser outside of school. Like, you go to a Chick-fil-A on the weekend and you raise money for something. And you see some teachers there. Of course they're going to be there. They want to support the school and they like chicken, but it's like, you're people. You're real people.
You eat?
Never seen you eat before. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's I have only recently started to get over that experience with like my second grade teacher, because she and my mom ended up becoming like really close friends. And so I see her at least once a year in a very like casual like retreat kind of context.
Sure.
So she's seen me have breakdowns about existential questions. But I haven't been in the second grade for like 15 years. That's as long as it takes.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I cannot relate to that. Okay. I guess with my first grade teacher, maybe, because she's really cool. And if I saw her in the grocery store, I'd be super excited. But any of the other ones, it'd be a little weird. They were all great teachers, but I don't know.
I'm actually writing about this for a video because I was rewatching a movie that I had really disliked the first time around. But as I was watching it the second time around, I realized that there were aspects of it that I really wanted. And the aspect of like having a close friendship or camaraderie with someone that you look up to and respect is something that I do really want, even though I am terrified that if I were given that opportunity, I would be a complete and utter dweeb about the whole thing. And it's like, I want it, but I have no idea what we would talk about.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I want it. I want this person to be my friend. I still have their number in my phone because like we worked on projects together and there needed to be contact. But it's like, I can't delete the number because I just can't. And I can't delete the messages because I also just can't. But it's like, there can be no contact before there is contact in person. And even then, I have no idea what would happen. But that's where like the fantasy aspect comes in, of where it's like, no, if you encountered this person again, it would be the easiest thing in the world.
Lauren, it is time for you to make your own cringe comedy. Let's go through number by number in your phone and say hi to every single one. You never know. You never know who'll come back.
Oh my gosh.
Just group chat, all of them at once.
Group chat, that's perfect. Guess you're
no one
wondering
will know anyone.
Right, yeah. I hope you're wondering why I brought you all together. It's because you're all on my phone. If you're in my phone, it's a privileged position.
Oh, imagine having the confidence to be able to do that. Just mass text everyone in your phone and be like, sup. Imagine having the confidence. Imagine, how do people do it? How do people do it? There are people with that much confidence. Do they like own a mirror? How does that work? Like, what is...
They don't own a mirror. They have a garage full of MLM products that they need to get off their hands immediately.
Oh my god. I too grew up in the Midwest and have a Facebook feed. Yes.
Yeah, no, I see people I went to school with and they're trying to like, is anyone interested in joining this party? And I'm like, you have an engineering degree. I know for a fact you do. We went to the same school.
What have you done?
Why
have you done this?
And I have no idea. Like, obviously, some of the issue is they know the people that they are reaching out to are susceptible to it.
Yeah.
But, and maybe it's just because I've watched so many videos about MLMs, but it's like, why is the impulse in your brain about like the whole setup? Why does that not go off?
I will submit to you that it is no different from the clout chasing we were talking about earlier, except it is now not clout, but 100% monetary, because you want to climb the pyramid.
Yeah.
It is 100% the same. Sense. It is the selfish desire, not the wrong desire, but it's still selfish, for success in some capacity along some axis. Yeah. Which is, it's fine. It's what you should do. It's just, sometimes it's downright predatory. Right? Figure it out some other way.
Yeah. Because a lot of it comes down to targeting like military wives who don't have like a community anyway because they move so frequently.
Sure.
It's usually like single moms too.
God, that's so smart.
Yeah. Yeah, because I understand like moving to a new place. Now I understand moving to a new place, and it's like, well, who do you go to? How do you meet people? And like, I'm religious, so I have the excuse of, I'll just meet people at church. But if you don't have that convenient excuse, like, how do you meet people?
No idea.
Yeah. If you don't already know them, like, unless you meet them through mutual friends, and really that's like the last bastion of meeting new people is mutual friends.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah. All my friends in Chicago also work at Groupon. But, such is life. How do you do it? I don't know.
Yeah. When you started work, were you the only person in your age bracket?
No.
Okay.
Were you?
Yes. When I started work as a 22-year-old, the next oldest person was 29.
Okay. See, I work in software engineering. Yeah. They like to hire people straight out of school.
Yeah.
There are two other people on my team. One of them, I think one of them is 25 or 26, probably 26. So, same age bracket, I would say. I'm 24.
Yeah. Well, and like culturally, there were lots of things that we still had in common. But they were already like married. They had just bought a house. And I'm like, those are experiences I cannot relate to.
Yep. Can't relate to it. Yeah. But alas.
Things to enjoy in the future.
I suppose.
Ostensibly. See, that's the thing, is I love the idea of homeownership because I love like the idea of having a space that I can completely control. But houses have multiple entrances, and that is like good and bad, because like the apartment, there's just one safe entrance. I could jump out the window if I had to, but there's only like one safe entrance. And I'll watch like creepy short films that'll be in houses where there are multiple entrances, and I don't need that.
It's like, just buy a knife. I don't know.
I do have a knife, yeah.
It's just as likely that someone's going to scale the balcony. Like, I sleep all the night. But I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. My place has 2 entrances, but they're both on the same floor. There is no egress on this lower floor. I guess except unless you count these windows, which are very, very easy to get into. I know because I have done it when I've locked myself out. They are like right there.
Oh my gosh.
You just kind of shimmy them up with friction, and then climb in. I am like maybe 2 feet underground, so it is pretty far to the ground, and also like an uncomfortable amount of space to like standing on the desk, and my desk is made out of glass, so that's also very spooky when I was breaking into my own place. Real warm feeling when no one called the cops on me. It's nice to know that we're all looking out for each other. So,
yeah.
But honestly, I'm glad they didn't call the cops on me, because it's like, how do I prove that I live here?
Utility bills, probably.
They're all electronic. I guess I could sign in. Like,
do you not?
Just give me a hot second.
Does your address? Is it your address? No, your address isn't on your driver's license because you still have a Florida driver's license.
That's true. I guess I could. I mean, all the things I get here, like mail, like property tax, I guess, but that gets filed away as soon as I pay it, and that's kind of hard to get to. So I have to like go to my phone, pull up I have like the. Give me a second. Let me go onto Google Drive. I have the. I have the thing, the bill of sale of the property. I have the deed. I have some mortgage bills. Just hang on, officer. You can put the gun down.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. But home ownership isn't that bad until you have to start replacing things. But beyond that, I recommend it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. No, I'm willing to trade off someone else being responsible for fixing everything, for being able to control the space completely.
Yep. And I think getting a condo is a very nice middle ground, because in effect I own from the studs in, so I don't have to like do any of the outdoor maintenance. I don't have to do anything like that.
That is nice.
If something is like structurally wrong with the thing, like the copper bits of plumbing, right? I'm pretty sure that isn't like my responsibility to fix, because it is like intrinsic of the building. It is attached to like the main sewer line.
Yeah.
I don't have a hot water heater, so I don't pay for water. I don't pay for hot water. It's a nice compromise, I think. Hey, yeah. I can take long showers to substitute the warmth in my life I lack. But but it's really nice because like I can do things to the wall. I can do pretty much anything that doesn't like impact the structural integrity of the building.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It sounds nice. And speaking of nice, yeah. Speaking of nice, who gave us money this week?
Well, Lauren, that's a great question. I think this relates very, very well to what we were talking about for basically the entire episode. This episode of Steaming Pile is brought to you by those ceiling light effects, vibrators, and bracelets, advertised on semi-viral tweets because apparently they'll advertise on literally anything they can get their hands on, including Steaming Pile. These companies pride themselves on taking advantage of someone's 15 minutes of undeserved clout and their lack of knowledge of advertising law and how much these product placements should actually cost. These companies probably think proper ads are just too expensive, and they prey on the fleeting virality of tweets with 5-figure like numbers, likely reaching out to the tweet's author, throwing them $100 in Venmo, and making them post the same reply tweet to promote the product that nobody wants to buy anyway. Wow. A sunset lamp on a tweet about baggy sweatpants? Where's the hashtag ad, Jenny? Is that not, isn't it illegal to not disclose when an ad's an ad, Jenny? Interesting paid promotion, Jenny. Tell me more about how the Galaxy Light changed your in-bed Netflix watching experience. I'm not giving out a URL, so you can take your stupid $90 back, drop shipper backed by Alibaba.
So did we get paid or did you give the money back?
Oh no, I read the ad. I'm keeping the money. Technically, I fulfilled my obligation. What are they going to do?
You know what?
Sue me? Who really owns these companies? I'll bet you it's all the same person. They sell those ceiling lights. They sell those. There's just this one vibrator that makes rounds. Apparently, it's amazing. But like, this is that. I just got to know. I just got to know, what is the target demographic? What tweets are they looking for to share the galaxy lights, the sunset lights, the vibrators, the bracelets, the posters? What are they looking for? Because not every tweet has them. How much are they paying? And only like half the time I see hashtag ad. Right? You got to disclose when an ad's an ad.
Well, they're just like casually mentioning a product. We don't know if they got paid.
They're all the same tweet. They are given copy.
These galaxy lights changed their lives in the exact same way. This episode raised your blood pressure.
Oh my God.
From reality TV music to these horrible leeches.
I feel like the steaming pile was dropped right on my chest.
Oh no. We got to the bottom of the steaming pile, not realizing that we buried Tucker in all of it. This has been Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I've been Lauren.
And let's pray that I will continue to be Tucker.
And we'll see you all next time.